Welcome to the Thresholds of Reality, the podcast where we explore unexplained and mysterious events, phenomena, and legends. Today, we're beginning a series exploring the weirdest locations on planet Earth. Strap in as we explore the edges of the unknown. Kyle, welcome. It's been a little over a week since we did another one of these. You've been all over the place. You've been
I've been
promoting.
doing a press release. Yes.
Yeah, I've been promoting all over the place. How's it going?
Slow but steady.
Yeah. Let's see. You were on Renovision. Of course, you do Modern Comic Mayhem on Saturdays. You were on Absolute Geek on Friday night. Do you ever take a break?
No, I got to keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I totally get that. Well, today we are looking at some weird places. Kyle, what's the weirdest place you've ever been?
The Arizona State Fair.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Have you ever seen those weird monkey mermaids where they fuse a monkey skeleton with a fish skeleton? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah. You pay your $1 and you go in and you see the world's biggest alligator, and it's that poor little I don't know. It's not little, it's just huge, but you could tell it's in this little tiny tank that's not big enough for it, and it's sitting there sad.
Yeah, for sure. And for the people in stream, we got TK41A. Let us know the weird places you've been. Fill our chat with weird places you've been. The Earth is so full of outstanding places, either for their beauty or their majesty. I used to think that Horseshoe Bend, they made it look like that through fisheye lenses or something.
Yeah.
But that's really what it looks like.
Yeah.
But there are other places that just stand out for their sheer creepiness. I lived in Mexico for a few years in my early 20s, and there was this place called Zitácuaro where millions of butterflies would fly to mate every year. They covered the trees of the forest near this little town. It was absolutely mind-blowing. But you wanted to talk about another Mexican town whose trees are covered with something else, right?
Yes. I wanted to talk about the Island of the Dolls.
All right. Let's get that fired up.
I think that's I watched it a long time ago on Jeff, what's his name? Jeff Gates. He used to have a show. And he went and he used to come on after that show, Ghost Hunters. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. My father and I wanted to do a Ghost Hunter show too.
He would travel to all these different crazy places. And he went, the first time I seen it a long time ago, it was the Island of Dolls. He went to go visit to see how haunted it was. And it's always intrigued me since I've seen it then, because it's creepy. You go through and it's all these dolls. They're the eyes are blacked out. They're missing arms, legs. They're it's and they're not and they're creepy looking.
Oh, let me throw up a picture. Got a photo right here. Look at that.
Nope, Cosmic Gold. Yeah, it's just all these crazy dolls everywhere. And so it's just, I don't know. It's just when they were going through, because what they were trying to do is they were trying to find why it was haunted, if it was haunted, because sometimes they say that the that they turn and they're looking at you and stuff. But what it is it's a place where a man found this little girl had drowned in the river.
Oh, that's so
And
sad.
yeah, and what happens, there was a doll that was near that body. So what he did was he took it and he put it in a tree so that the girl would have the doll. Like, it's, it's kind of still there for it. And what's happened is over time, more and more dolls have come, and some say that the that he would that people him would come and they would put more dolls up, and that they were actually like spirits of little girls that were trapped in these dolls.
Whoa. Were there more kids that he found, or just the one?
No, I mean, he only found the one. That's why I never understood that. Like, I think that's one of the things is who kept putting the dolls up. Some say it was him. Some say it was more because it's in a little village. It's not, it's the villages. There's very few people. But what the villagers say is this is like, it's like charmed, almost haunted type area.
Yeah.
So they show the doll. They say that the dolls are whispering and they're looking and they're going, they're looking at you, and you could see, they're moving, they could see them moving. And it's just one of those creepy things that would just be cool to see. But they say is, his name's Don Julian Barrera was the caretaker of the island.
Okay.
So, one of the things I thought his question is, do you think he even found a girl? Do you think this is something he's doing as just to freak people out? Do you think it's...
I read a little bit about it. I think Mr. Barrera, so he died back in 2001.
Mm-hmm. In the same spot that the girl was found drowned in.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Are you for real?
That's what they say.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that bridge in France where people will take their like bike locks or something and lock it there with a sweetheart or something. Is this one of those types of attractions where people are adding to the lore by bringing their own dolls and adding them to the trees to try and add to the creepiness of the vibe?
I kind of think that's what it is, but they say it's actually being there is every one of them has a trapped girl spirit inside of each doll.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's something where a grieving family, as kind of an act of pilgrimage or something, is taking their doll or their daughter's doll.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, let me throw up that picture again because we got more people coming in. We're talking about Isla de las Muñecas in Mexico, near Mexico City.
You said it way better than I could have.
And this is just a small sample. Do you have any idea how many dolls there are?
It just goes. I know it goes for quite some time down the river.
Yeah.
It's a pretty long stretch that they do.
Yeah. So,
go ahead. According to the articles that we were looking at, it says he personally had for 50 years have been collecting and hanging the dolls up.
50 years.
Yes.
Man. Yeah, so he died doing those, doing the island then, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, that is freaking creepy. That's a creepy place.
It's a crazy place that, like, I was watching the show, and of course, it's one of those shows where they always go to explore something and they never find anything. like they never really find existence of spirits. They never found existence of the dolls actually looking. But like, I would love to have gone and talked to some of these villagers that say that, with their experiences, saying that they've actually found that they've heard the dolls whispering. They've seen the dolls turn their heads to look at them. They've seen the arms move. I think
They've seen this stuff.
Yeah, there's accounts where they said they've heard them whispering. They've heard the heads move. They've seen the heads move, and so they're actually. That's why they think. I think that's why they think there's spirits that are inside of these dolls. What are you looking at?
Wow, that's super creepy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I would say.
So, are you planning your trip? Do you have your ticket to it?
Oh
You're
yeah.
gonna go check it out. Oh man. Well, is there anything else you wanted to lay down about Isla de las Muñecas?
Is there anything that you came across that was interesting or different about it?
So the things that they said sounded like the local cops tried to find out the truth of the drowning, and they never were able to determine whether there was somebody who drowned there. And so a lot of locals kind of dismissed the old man as kind of a crazy guy. I don't know if you saw that. But the investigators couldn't, pin a crime on anybody. They couldn't find any records of this girl to support her death.
This Barrera was just doing this for attention then?
There's suspicion that that's the case, but he was apparently haunted by the spirit of this girl. So whether or not it actually happened, he believed that it happened. And he started hanging more and more dolls in an attempt to try and please her ghost. So it was kind of like, oh, she likes dolls, I will get more dolls for her. And then, according to the locals, he felt that the dolls themselves became possessed by the spirits or the ghosts of other dead girls. And they had kind of become a vessel or gathering place for young ghosts, or ghosts of young girls who had died. And so they were kind of flocking to this place. And he continued to collect these creepy dolls and hang them over the entire island. It was as if Julian was driven by some force that had completely changed him. And he was just apparently traumatized by the fact that he wasn't able to save the little girl from drowning.
I mean, but he's not putting these nice looking dolls up, like these pretty dolls for this, what he says, to appease this spirit. Like, these dolls are like disturbing. They're, like they're missing arms.
I think that's more of a function of the place he lives, right? Look at it's a shack, right? He lives in a shack. He's not a man of means. He wasn't collecting entrance fees for the people coming to visit. He wasn't making money off of this attraction. So maybe he was just getting dolls from the gutters, from the trash bins, and putting them up where he could. Or he was getting them from people who discarded them and didn't want them anymore. So I don't think it's the function of him being a creepy guy trying to be creepy. I think it's more, he just he's not a man of means. He doesn't have the ability to go out and buy fresh dolls and put them in trophy cases or glass cases.
So you're saying he might not even be taking the arms and legs and heads. That's just how he's finding them.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I lived in Mexico for a couple of years, and there are people who just will decorate their houses, they become like devoted to a saint, for example,
Mhm.
and they decorate their houses with trinkets that remind them of that saint. Sometimes it's bottle caps, sometimes it's like shards of glass. It's just whatever. They'll break up glass bottles, like Coke bottles or Sprite bottles, and cement them to their house. And that's like their little bit of luxury that they're putting on their house.
You think this could be like a case of like the Remington House?
What's the Remington House? Tell me about that.
So the Remington House is Remington Rifles.
Okay.
It's outside of San Jose, California. Remington, like that's been a brand that's been a long time. That's a history of firearms. So that means you could say, a lot of people have been killed by the brand Remington.
Okay.
So
I thought that was Winchester.
Winchester.
Oh,
Damn.
okay. Yeah. I know about the Winchester Mansion. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, oh damn it. I don't know why I thought Remington. Yeah, Winchester. But like, she saw a psychic and the psychic told her that she couldn't leave, so she kept building to the house because of the spirits that were killed to she was appeasing. I wonder if it was something like close to that.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he kind of created unintentionally this sort of vacancy or hotel, like a ghost hotel where they could come and inhabit these dolls. And it gave him some sort of peace of mind that he was giving a place to rest for these poor children who were dying across the country. Yeah, it's just super creepy. For the living, it's just super creepy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a tourist destination. It's not somewhere where you go to vacation.
Yeah, but if you're
in
in Mexico City for the tacos or whatever, it's actually not far from Mexico City. It's along the Xochimilco, which is a river that goes through Mexico City. So you could make a little pilgrimage out to Isla de las Muñecas, the Dead Doll Island, and creep yourself out if you're up for it.
I mean, I just thought it was just a crazy place to, like the Winchester Mansion. That's another place that I would love to visit.
Yeah. And I think that'll probably be in another one of these strange site episodes.
Oh yeah.
And they made a movie about it with I think Helen Mirren played Mrs. Winchester, the gal who was haunted, still living in that mansion. I know that there's also a graphic novel about the Winchester, about the hauntings.
Like a Halloween tour on like Halloween night.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
They do like a night tour. So I've always just thought that was just an interesting place, and I figured it'd just be something kind of cool to throw out there for our listeners to
give them a little shiver down their spine.
Yeah. And Google and read up a little bit more on it. And the hard part about what I found about researching for this was it seemed like every article and everything that I seen was just kind of a repeat of the first one.
Yeah. It was probably like a pamphlet or a flyer that tour guides produced for it, and then they were just using that.
Yeah, because it was hard to find like an expanded view of everything that went with this.
Yeah. And there is a website. It does have an official website, isladelasmuñecas.com.
So
and you can go there and see all of the stuff going on with it. They'd have pictures.
Put up a camera, like a live stream camera, like they do for like there's like a game preserve in Africa that you could watch like 24/7. And then like when the volcanoes are going off in different parts of the world, they have like 24/7 cameras on it what they should do is put like a 24/7 camera
On the
on a
dolls.
of the dolls.
Yeah. I think I saw a night vision clip of the dolls, and they were trying to see if any of them moved. And since they're outside, it is possible the wind picks them up and moves them. But in the night vision clip, there was some movement, and I'm not sure if it was wind or just creepy ghost doll possession. But it was chilling.
It was Josh Gates that I saw. Destination Truth was the show that I originally saw.
Destination Truth. Okay.
That was so that was, I mean, check it out, Google it, try to find some cool stuff on it. And it's just definitely something cool to check out.
Yeah. So with that, I think we'll move on to the next destination. When I was a kid, I lived in this little town called Cayesville, Utah, and it was a quiet town. My little elementary school was just a few blocks down the street, and it was renowned for basically two things. The lunch ladies there were like 5-star chefs, and so we had really good school lunches. They baked fresh bread all the time. But the other thing was the haunted woods behind the school. And the woods were home to a place called Kay's Cross, which is a 12-foot statue.
I thought this was crazy when you first sent me this.
Yeah. 12-foot statue with a K in the chest. That's what it looked like in its heyday. And Kay's Cross had all kinds of urban legends about it. When I was completely ignorant of it until I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my buddy said that we should go explore the woods behind the school and see if we could get to Kay's Cross. And along the way, he told me all the legends he knew about the place. And he said that every Halloween, teenagers would take their dates into the woods and perform satanic rituals by bashing heads of cats at the feet of the statue and then setting them
That's
on fire.
One of my favorite dates to go on.
Yeah, it always impresses the ladies.
Satanic ritual dates. Like
they always love to see that you can, shed innocent blood of small mammals. They love to see that.
You finally you're on the dating site. You swiped right. You guys are compatible. You're going to go. What do you want to do the first date? Let's go do a satanic ritual and bash some cats' heads in, and let's get this off started on a good note.
Yeah, that's right.
We need a good old nothing like a good old satanic ritual to start a relationship.
Hey, you know what? In Cayesville, they do things a little differently, but there's also this urban legend that the town is called Cayesville, and so there was some confusion that Kay's Cross was built for the town founder, a guy named William Kay, and William Kay was just a regular guy, but the legend was that he killed his 12 wives. Right, this is Mormon country, so the legend was he killed his 12 wives and buried them, and then built this cross on top of them, which is not true.
I thought the best part of it was his favorite wife.
Yeah,
he took her heart and he put it in the center, like he had all these wives, but there was just that one he liked a little bit more.
So he carved her heart out and put it in the center. Yeah.
Like I wonder what that wife did to just stand out a little bit more than the 11 others.
Yeah, she nagged just a little less. She let him have a podcast. So that's not true. Absolutely has nothing to do with William Kay. His wives all died of old age. He didn't murder anybody. But there was, as we were walking towards the statue, my buddy also talked about werewolves roaming the woods around the statue and capturing and eating children. Dude, I was terrified. I was I was like my skin was just crawling. And at the slightest snap of a twig, I was like jumping up trees and stuff. I was terrified. And I was like, why are we children looking for such a dangerous place? There's Satanists, there's devils, there's werewolves out in this jungle or out in these woods. What are we doing?
You just kept pressing forward.
Yeah, well, I had my buddy. I was leading the expedition, and my buddy was behind me, kind of just pushing me. And so finally, we kind of come around the bend, and you can kind of see in this picture that there's kind of a clearing in the woods, and the trail kind of comes out in this clearing, and I see this huge monument, and I'm like, at the angle we came in, there's like a fire pit in between the legs, and I could see the char marks from the fire pit, and I was like, dude, it's all true. It's all true. And so I just start running. Boom, boom. And I didn't stop till I got home.
You saw the fire pit, you knew satanic worship was going on. And
that's right. I was like, those are the cats. The cats are dead. Everyone's cats are dead. We got to get out of here. So I ran, dude. I ran for my life. But a short time after this, so that was probably 1990, 91. In 1992,
so you got to see it right before it went kerploding.
Yeah, 1992, it blew up, and it was like the end of the school year. 1992, somebody blew it up with a pipe bomb and took it down. And you could see the char marks and the Satan star, the pentagram, right on the. Mm-hmm. And they blew it up, and that was the end of Cayes Cross. And the question kind of stuck with me for a long time. I was like, where did this thing even come from, for real?
Yeah, like they don't know who built it, right?
They do know who built it. And perhaps the truth about Cayes Cross is as strange, if not stranger, than the fiction. So in the late 40s, early 50s, there was a guy who started a cult in Utah, and he called himself a Christian. Well, hey, the Mormons had competition, and there was a guy, his name was Krishnaventa. He actually didn't have a ton of success, but he found a following in Cayesville, and they built this statue to him. And Krishnaventa, he really struggled, and he's like, you know what? He proclaimed himself to be the new Messiah or the returned Messiah. And he said, I need to go to California and build a church there. And he built a church there called WKFL, Fountain of the World. And
radio station call letters.
Right. It standing for something like wisdom, knowledge, faith, and loyalty, or something like that. They were supposed to be the primary values of his religion. And he built this following, and their beliefs were basically very similar to like science fiction based religions like Scientology, where this is space opera about a planet and rocket ships bringing people to Earth, and said that over history people were enlightened because they spoke with him in his kind of ethereal or divine form. And then one of his prophecies, which I thought was kind of interesting just because of stuff going on right now, was he prophesied an imminent cataclysm that would be a racially motivated civil war in the West, particularly America, where blacks would rise up and bloodily, now those are his words, right? Blacks would rise up and bloodily vanquish the whites with aid from Russia. Then the traitorous Russians would turn around and conquer the black people and try to take over the world. So kind of weird, with BLM and then Russia and Ukraine. It's like that's kind of chilling, kind of oddly prophetic, oddly accurate. But like all great cult leaders, he was eventually murdered by his followers, and he was murdered because, like all cult leaders, he stole money from his followers and then slept with their wives. And they didn't like that, so they killed him. That basically happened to David Koresh. Happens to a lot of these cult guys. When they start sleeping with their followers' wives. But he was murdered, and one of his later followers was a young Charles Manson. And Charles Manson
that was in Utah.
No, that was in California. It was in California.
Oh, so after he went back from Utah to California.
Yeah, so he started that he built the statue, then he moved to California, built a church he called Fountain of the World. He was murdered in the late 50s. And then when Charles Manson started his cult, it was oddly similar to Krishnaventa.
So why would he go all the way to Utah, build something, and then bail back to California?
Yeah, so his mom was from Utah. His dad was from California. He grew up in California, lived in Utah for a short time, didn't have much success amongst the Mormons, right? They were already pretty much beholden to their church.
Mm-hmm.
But he had enough that they built this statue. And then he boogied across. He went back to California thinking, I'll have more success in the place where I grew up. And he did, but it came at a price because he got a little ahead of himself. But Charles Manson was one of his later followers. And ironically, Charles Manson eventually holed up in the Fountain of the World church himself. And that was where he did his thing. And so Krishnaventa built this weird statue. He left it there for people to explore and kind of be weirded out by. And certainly weirded me out. But the question was, what about those freaking werewolves? Well, turns out there were no werewolves in the woods, but there was a pedophile. There was a freaking local scout leader who was diddling kids in the area. And all the legends about werewolves coming and getting the kids, it was all about this scout leader. He didn't kill them, but he abused them. And sometime after I left, all of his dirty deeds were brought to light, and he went to jail for a long, long time. And
so you think the werewolf was like just a kid folklore of trying to describe this like Cub Scout or Boy Scout or whatever he was, that was in the forest, that was like how it like evolved the story of this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of how maybe they were like, like that's how it escalated by the kids.
Yeah, a lot of times, like kids or their parents, maybe they don't have the words to express, or maybe they don't want to expose their kids to what the real danger is, which is these kind of really dangerous sexual deviance. I certainly don't want my kids to have to deal with that stuff, but instead you come up with these other threats that speak more to their childish nature. Dogs. Everyone's scared of a dog. Well, this is a super villain dog called a werewolf, and it's actually a person who will eat you if you're not careful. And so it kind of takes on this legendary status, and over the years, those things kind of escalate. And this scout guy who was preying on kids, he got caught eventually, and I think he's out by now, but he was in jail for I think 20 years. And now he's somewhere in Utah, just kind of, he might even be dead. I don't know. But he just lived down the street from me. Like it was just like a block away. And he had kids of his own, and one of them went to my school. And just crazy.
Like I know when I would go camping with like my dad, like he would tell this story, and it was just to mess with me. It's 100% just to mess with me. He would tell me that there was stories that there was this crazed desert dweller that carried a hatchet that would go and kill campers here in Arizona.
I heard that story too.
So, like as a kid, we'd go camping. I wouldn't sleep because I was waiting for Hatchet Dude, and I wasn't going to be caught sleeping. And to this day, it's ingrained in my I think in like my subconscious to like not sleep. So like when I was a teenager and me and my buddies would go fishing and stuff, like I would spend like half the day piling up like firewood so that I could keep the fire nice and big because I would never sleep.
Right.
Because I was there was this, I always thought the crazed Hatchet Man was going to get us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I saw this movie, and this is kind of off topic, but I've been wanting to talk to somebody about it, and this is as good a place as any. I saw this movie called Train to Busan. You ever seen that Korean zombie movie?
Mm.
It is a well-renowned zombie movie, and the funny thing about it is the zombies never kill anyone. They bite them and they turn them into zombies, and they just kind of increase the size of the zombie horde.
Mm.
And I was like, so if nobody ever dies, like what's the real fear? Like you get bitten by this zombie and then you become one. And why is that more scary to the Koreans than getting killed by a zombie?
The thought of being undead.
Undead, losing your humanity, losing your independence. And then I thought, what happened in the Korean history? And I was like, the communists to the north, they're afraid of becoming North Korea. And that's what the zombies in Train to Busan are. They're the communists of North Korea. And that's really what it's a symbol for. Because they don't kill you, they just turn you into them. They take away your humanity. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was an eye-opening revelation. And then I started to think about all these other monster movies and who they might be trying to portray instead of a monster. And I think that's what the werewolves is about, is predators, human predators.
Yes. Like they turn into a monster when it's the night type of thing.
When it's night and they're sneaking around.
Mm-hmm.
They're sneaking around and they're snagging kids and doing horrible, unspeakable things to them. But here's the irony, is that if the werewolf doesn't kill you, you become the werewolf, or you become a werewolf, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like that concern that if a pedophile or something gets you, do you also then get cursed to become a pedophile? And a lot of times that does happen. People who are abused as kids then grow up to abuse other kids. And it doesn't always happen, and thank God, but scary.
Yeah, I can see how, like, and the best way to describe it is it's a monster.
Yeah. And it's truly monstrous.
Yes.
But so my theory about whoever blew this place up was that they were a victim and they were tired of being a victim. And
I was thinking about it too, and I was like, you know what I bet you this is? Bunch of teenagers partying, fucking around, messing around, pardon my French. Like having their kegger, and guess what I got? They built some kind of explosive device, you know what I mean, like a pipe bomb. And I think I don't think they expected the explosion that it did. Oh no, you know what I mean? And it's something that the kids kept quiet because they never found out who did it. Nobody wanted to be implicated on it. But
I mean, it's the weirdest thing ever. I don't think the cops even cared.
no, because I mean, they said that I read somewhere that little part right there, they don't even consider it city limits. They consider it county, and it's a sheriff ordeal, not even a city cop ordeal.
Yeah.
Because they don't care. The city doesn't care about it that much.
Right.
So I just, yeah,
I think
that's where the teenagers will go out to make out and party and stuff anyway.
Sure. And satanic dates.
I mean,
but
I can't think of a better first date.
let's go blow up. Let's go avenge all the werewolf victims and blow this thing up.
Oh man, I didn't think I was gonna do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the kids were like, "We're just gonna keep this to ourselves, and we're not gonna say nothing about it."
Yeah, my theory is it was a victim. I think it was a teenager. I think it was also a teenager. I think it was a victim, and I think he saw the opportunity to kind of move above that victim status, and he took it.
I think they're both solid theories.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Hopefully whoever did it, they feel good about it because it was a weird place, and I'm glad that it's gone.
I mean, just the stories is what makes that an eerie place. There's no real accounts of anything that people actually saw that made it creepy. It's the urban legends and the stories is what's actually made it creepy.
Yeah, it was a cult gathering place. It became kind of this center of teenage mischief. And then with the layer of this kind of pedophile going around and preying on kids in the neighborhood, like there's a lot of creepiness going on around that place.
Yes.
Well, I think this is going to be the first in a series of our exploring legends around strange places. I think the Winchester's definitely on the list. Brian McClay had some interesting suggestions about Skinwalker Ranch, and there's lots of creepy places around the world. And so I think we'll be back to talk about other favorite creepy sites in future episodes. But do you have anything else you wanted to bring up, or to put a pin in these two places for now?
I think what both these places have in common is there was one guy that started something there, and then it continued to build.
Yeah, it got bigger than what he was doing.
Yes, and I think that happened with both because he just like the Island of the Dolls, he kept bringing dolls to appease the one, So for 50 years he kept bringing dolls, just like this place. Everything just kept happening. It kept just making it bigger and bigger and spookier and spookier and more of a place of not to go and to stay away from.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'll throw up one more time. This is Island of the Dolls. Island of the Dead Dolls, super creepy. And then Case Cross. And with that, what
were those kids doing?
They're climbing on it. It's 12 foot high.
And then, they rode their bikes there.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, because that was there, you saw it in the 90s, it had been there a long time. And
50 years.
So they went with the intention of let's climb on it and take a picture.
Yeah. I was creeped out by it as a kid, but people went there all the time.
Did you tell your parents that you went there after you did?
Not that day.
Like
I told them
how
long after.
years?
Years after, yeah. After we had moved to Arizona.
So they
So
couldn't be mad. Like
it
statute
went
of
up in
limitations was
May.
over.
It went up in May 92, and then we moved in June 92 to Arizona. What was your question? Sorry.
I said, was statute of limitations over?
dude, let me tell you. Have you ever heard of a movie called Ghoulies?
Hmm.
The poster for that movie was like a green slimy monkey in a toilet.
Yep.
Okay. And as a kid, my older brother had that poster in like on his door. And we had a bathroom in the downstairs part of our house, which was just down the hall from my brother's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And because he had that stupid poster, we were all scared to death of the downstairs bathroom. So we never used it. And so instead, if someone was using the bathroom, we would pee in the closet across the hall from the bathroom. And so every single one of my brothers and sisters did it. And we didn't ever tell my mom or dad about it until we moved to Arizona. And it was like 20 years later. So like you said, statute of limitations was over. My mom was still pissed. She was pissed enough. She blamed the whole thing on a cat who was completely innocent.
You did what after school?
Oh, man. Yeah, statute of limitations doesn't mean your parents can't still be mad at you.
I know. But if anybody's out there that's got a cool place you want us to talk about, or would like to even come on and talk about with us, like
Yeah.
That's what the cool thing about about our second story is that this is something that you experience, you live there. I would love to have somebody come on and I think that's what makes this show kind of fun is when we have these personal stories that we get to include to it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of personal events and legends that have kind of built up in our own mind. There's a show called Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. So there's a lot like that where you have people who are in varying distances from this very tragic event, and they build up in their minds what it was actually about. And that's kind of how life was for me about this Case Cross, is that the legends that I was told are not very close to the truth, but the truth itself is as strange as the fiction.
I can't wait till we get into orbs, floating orbs.
Yeah.
Because I have a crazy floating orb story.
Really?
Because I've actually physically seen one in person.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy story.
Can't wait to hear it.
So it should, and it's cool too, is because my wife's seen it too.
Yeah. Was it like a ball lightning, plasma ball or something?
Yeah, it was this white ball that was floating 5 feet off the ground.
Plasma ball. Those are really rare. You must be blessed with good luck.
Yeah, I wish.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. So don't forget to comment. Tell us about some strange places you've been. We'd love to explore them and possibly have you on the podcast to talk about them. Make sure you like and subscribe and tune in wherever you listen to podcasts. Kyle makes sure that the audio of our podcast gets up on Monday. And next time, hopefully we're interviewing a psychic, a tarot card reader.
Does she already know?
Yeah. The cards say, Thresholds of Reality card says I will be there to interview.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited for that. I love talking. We've on Absolute Geek, we talked to us. I think he wasn't quite a psychic. I think he was more of a medium.
Oh, okay.
So I find that fascinating. And I can't wait to pick this person's brain.
Yeah, I'm really eager. Hopefully, we've had a couple interviews kind of fall through the last couple of weeks, we're trying to get it so that we get 2 episodes for our audience every week, an interview, and then kind of a topic exploration like this. And if we can get that, I think it'll be Tuesday. And then, look for that live on Tuesday.
Yeah, and our audience as well, if you know somebody that would has a topic or that is like a, like Sticks Boy reached out to me about a paranormal hunter. I'm going to reach out to another paranormal hunter investigator. Like if you know somebody, reach out to us and have them reach out to us. We would love to talk to them about what fringe thing that they do.
Yeah. I think there's probably a lot of people who have weird, unexplained experiences in their lives. I think most of our episodes so far have centered around weird experiences in our own lives. And just you and me, Kyle, I think we've assembled probably a half dozen of absolutely bonkers things that have happened to us as regular people. And there are people out there who have weird things happen to them all the time. There's stories of weird forests, swamp gas, whatever, but tell us about it. Comment on it, and we would love to share it.
Yes.
At any rate, thank you for joining us. We've had a handful of viewers, and we appreciate all of your eyes and ears in our growing podcast. We love to see you come in and comment. And with that, I'm going to cue the music, and we will see you guys next time. Look for it on Tuesday.